Let's start the show because everybody's expecting me to be on. Where am I? How am I doing? How do I sound? Honk if you can hear me, people. Somebody has to do it. Where's Alan when I need him? Scott Jernigan. Oh, see, now I'm nervous. People, nobody's responding. I'm starting to think I can't be heard. Can you hear me? Okay, there we go. Thank you. Woo, okay. Hey, everybody, this is Mike Meyers, and it is the Monday edition of the COVID virus. It's going to be one of those days, kids. This is Mike Meyers on the Monday edition of the COVID virus YouTube Total Seminars channel live stream. Ask Mike Anything. The goal of this live stream is to provide those of us who are isolated by the coronavirus an opportunity to continue our studies on CompTIA certifications, primarily on IT fundamentals, A+, Net+, and Security+, although we can certainly go outside of that on an as-needed basis. So, also, we're always glad to talk about technical things as well. Along with me today is going to be Scott Jernigan. Is Dave Rush with me? Yep, there's Dave Rush. I see him. I don't know why Dave Rush has never been... There, Dave Rush, you're now a moderator. I don't know what that does for you, but... Can you hear me? Oh, good song. All right. Okay, so let's just take a look, see everybody's here. Honk if you can hear me. Jane Slayer. Jane, I got your email. I didn't ignore you. I'm very sorry, guys. Couple of things today. Thing number one, we're only going to go for 1 hour today. I got to go back to the doctor. Everything's fine, guys. It's just a regular checkup. But I got to zip back to the doctor. So we're only going to run till 3 o'clock today. Sorry about that. So if you got questions, throw them in quickly. If you have questions, you ask me questions in one of two ways. The main way you ask me questions, Mateo Rio at 201. Hey, Mateo. Number one thing you guys got to do is just post the questions right here in the live chat. And I will look at them. If I miss a question, don't panic. Just type it again. I'll get to it. I really will. I swear. Also, if you're the shy type and you want to ask a question more privately, it's not a problem. Just send me an email to michaelm@totalsem.com. That's all you got to do. Send me an email and just talk about whatever it is, and we can talk about it there. I can answer you personally, or I can answer it online. So let me know what you want there. If you're a gamer, I'm Senor Pepe on Steam, and I'm Desweds, DESWEDS, just about everywhere. So if you're curious what Desweds means, just type on a keyboard with your left finger, type DESWEDS, Desweds. It's a kinetic acronym. How's that for grooviness? And I'm pretty much, if there is anything and there's a Desweds on it, that's going to be me. Got a few email questions, not too many. What else is happening today? Okay, we're going to go for an hour. Do keep in mind that we have we have deals. So this week, the Ask Mike Anything special deals is 50% off all CompTIA Total Tester practice exams and Total Tester bundles. So we sell practice questions, we sell multiple choice questions, and we sell performance-based questions. We sell them separately because the engines don't work well together. And if they can ever come up with an engine that does them all, then we can put them together. But until then, I'm like, not going to do it. Anyway, practice questions are a critical part of anybody who's doing this. And I think that we have very, very good practice questions. And you should take advantage of this deal because it's 50% off. My practice questions are already about the cheapest out there. And this is half price. So these deals are around all the time. Okay, and in order to take advantage of this deal, all you got to do is go to www.totalsem.com. Head over to the merchant area, pick up some of your practice questions or the Total Tester bundles, and just before you check out, use code IWD Igloo World Dog 2021 at checkout, and you can get 50% off. It's an incredible deal, and probably the best reason to even show up here, in my opinion, well, other than looking at all this, get these incredible discounts. It's a great deal. So that's pretty much how it works. So I know we've only got an hour today, so I'm gonna cut things a little bit shorter. just because I want to make sure I got everybody covered. I do have to show you guys something. One thing that's hilarious. Look what I got from a friend of mine. It's a microphone, but it's like a Dr. Seuss microphone, you know? Doesn't it look like something from Dr. Seuss? Look what we found in the dark, in the park. We'll take him home. We'll call him Clark. So I'm going to be playing with this. It's supposed to be a really, really good mic, like a really good mic. So I'm going to have to give it a try here eventually. So I'm pretty excited about that. All right, so let's see. I'm looking for questions. So this is how this game works here, folks. I kind of got to scroll through, and I'll look for questions. Scott or Dave might post them to me. But this is the fun part where I got to look through the chat window and see. Elbow's talking about motherboards still. He might answer. Looking for questions. Scrolling through the chat screen. I sound great. Red 5. Oh, William Jeske's here. Roland Og. That looks like a new name. Welcome aboard. 201 Treb Roberts. Treb, if you've been here before, hello. Matteo is definitely a new name. Rodney Amy gives him power. Oh God, what did I say? No. I always get in trouble. Gives because I made Dave Rush an administrator. Okay. Ali Old Ramul. Ali, I hope I pronounced your name halfway right. So I like watching World of Tanks video replays, and there's a YouTube channel called Quickie Baby. I'm sorry, that's one of them. What's the other one called? The Mighty Jingles. The Mighty Jingles. This guy's British, and he World of Tanks and World of Warships. He loves playing these games. And he gets a lot of folks from all over the world who are players, and looks at the games and everything. And if he can't pronounce somebody's name, he just calls them Dave. So I'm going to try to avoid doing that. Gruber Accountancy is here. Look at that. Gruber Accountancy. Will there be a Discord today? Gruber, there's always a Discord, okay? The Discord is always up and available. The trick is we have to, if you're asking, will I be on today? Unfortunately, I cannot because I have to go to I got to go to a doctor's office. So I won't be able to do it today. But I guarantee you that Andrej, Tolowitz, Scott Jernigan, usually Alex Potsy, who am I forgetting? Oh, I'm forgetting names. This is embarrassing. We usually have a few people who show up on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays after a live stream. So I can assure you somebody will be on there. But the important thing that I want to discuss about this Discord channel. Now, number one, Scott Jernigan, can you post the Discord channel up so everybody can see it, please? So the first thing I want to say about this Discord channel is that it's not a Total Seminars product, okay? It's a friend of mine, Jose Braden, set this up. I have no control. I'm not a moderator or anything on it, and I don't want to be because I think that you guys need your own place. In fact, I would love to see, God, I almost hate to say this too loud, but you get people even studying from other people's stuff should all be working together, whatever. And so you can post there anytime. And you'll get a qualified person to give you an answer. We got a lot of really good techs who show up here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I can't recommend these folks enough, other than the fact that you might get some occasional disagreements. If you want to get on the Discord channel, just go get on it. Just get on it. Scott Journey and Shirley has put the link in by now. And just show up. I won't be on today. Unfortunately, I can't. Sorry, I'm just getting, the world is talking to me again today. But it is there. There's Andrej. Crazy Homebody Girl is here. Good. Gruber, Dennis Belizorov. Dennis, you've been here before. I remember seeing you. Good to see you again, man. Will the CompTIA A+ book be updated, or is it still current? It is still very much current, Rodney, and you're good for at least a year, if not more than that. Yes, I saw that I started to fade in and out there. I'm actually speaking slow, trying to make sure I don't go off channel again. I'm monitoring it very, very closely. Sorry about that, guys. I know you guys all freak out the moment I start to buffer. Are you able to take the the CompTIA A+ tests separately? Of course you can. I don't like that. I've always been one to take them both, schedule for, pay for both of them, sit down, take one, and pass or fail, take the second. But no, Rodney, Amy Jr., you absolutely can take them separately if you'd like. 2:05 p.m., Jane Slayer. I'm about to buy y'all's total set. Buy y'all's? Oh, that's right. Good Texas boy there. On Active Directory Windows Server 2016. Okay, still good. Gruber Accountancy does a simple, okay, so we got an extra real question here. 2:05 p.m., Gruber Accountancy. Does a simple host NIC, I'm not sure what you mean by a simple host NIC. You mean just like the physical NIC in a system? Function as a router for the guest virtual machines? No, I mean, no, the hypervisor itself, and this would be true for certainly VMware, it'd be true for VirtualBox. Yeah, I guess it'd be true for all hypervisors. The software within the hypervisor itself handles whatever networky things need to do. So it's not in the router. What non-Android phones do you like? Right now, it's interesting you bring that up. I can't do it right now. I'm going to save that because I am looking at, I'm an Android person, but I'm not real happy with Google's dealing with my privacy. So I have been looking aggressively at some non-Android phones. I don't like Apple products at all. I'm not against them. In fact, if I had like somebody's grandma or something like that and I wanted to hand them a device and I wanted them to speak to me as little as possible, I'd probably hand them an Apple device. The Apple interface is wonderful. I'm not going to get in any arguments on that. It's fine. The challenge I have with Apple devices is that it's a little bit too big brother for me. And there are certain tools that I need, wireless network hacking tools and things like that, that just don't work on iOS, on Apple devices. And Android's my only real choice. But I'm not happy with Android because, boy, does Google inherently does a lot of tracking of you. Google tries to not be evil, but I think that they can't help it anymore. You do have controls over some of your stuff, but not really everything. So that's why I'm looking aggressively at non-Android phones, or at least phones that I can wipe the firmware and use some non-Android. Like, for example, I didn't realize that there's this huge aftermarket in BlackBerries, last generation BlackBerries. So that would take us back to what, I don't even know, 2010, 2012? That there's a lot of popularity in the security world for those old BlackBerries. The problem is those old BlackBerries can't handle, they obviously can't handle 5G. Most of them cannot handle 4G. And so a lot of them were still doing 3G back then, which all of the folks these days are trying to get you off of. So that's kind of a little bit of a problem. But anyway, the bottom line is I don't have a favorite non-Android phone, Gruber, but I think we're probably due for a talk about alternatives for the security conscious when it comes to their phones. And the answer is I'm going to have, some ARM-based system that's running a different firmware. That's really all it boils down to. And I don't have all the answers yet. Treb Roberts at 2:05. My college class is using your A+ book for the course. All right. Loving it so far. I might try to acquire the A+ before I get my bachelor's. Yeah, knock it out. Hey, Treb Roberts. Treb Roberts, do me a favor. This is for Treb Roberts. Treb Roberts, send me an email. Send an email to michaelm@totalsem.com. The reason I'm asking that from you, Treb, is I'm curious what school you go to. And I'd like to have some information. Like, for example, I'd like to know what class you're taking that uses my textbooks. I'm just always nosy, especially what sounds like a 4-year school because you're going for your bachelor's. I'd like to see that. Metsuo is back. Ulysses, is that a lamp? Yeah. Is this thing hilarious or what? Especially the colors. It's blue and yellow. Little yellow, different. Next question. Abazar Ali. Hello, I have a question about hypersegmentation. Hypersegmentation? Ooh. Abazar Ali at 2:06. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Abazar, this is one of these things. Look, we're all nerds. None of us can spell. It's okay. You're with friends. We understand. But Abazar, I'm going to need you to get that word right, and then I could probably answer it for you, I think. So just either type it again or look it up or whatever. 2:06 p.m. Roland Ogg. Music guy, I'm guessing. Hi, Mike. My name is Roland. I recently graduated this winter. My degree is computer CIS. Currently employed through an agency, but getting paid poorly. Well, Roland, I mean, you got a CIS degree. I guess you're going for certs. So you graduated this winter. So you're employed. Yeah, Roland, I guess the only thing I can tell you is that everybody's first job stinks, at least certainly in pay. Here, there was more. Would you suggest getting my CompTIA Network Plus certification? Do you have any other advice you can give someone starting their career? Okay, so my first question to you is, more anything else, Roland, are you a coder? Because when you got a CIS degree, that to me, that usually means that you're a computer programmer. And that's great. But that can be very different from, say, somebody who's working on routers or somebody who's working on cloud IaaS systems or stuff like that. So, Roland, the first question I'd ask you is, what do you want to do? Do you want to write code for a living? Then if you want to write code for a living, then you're probably in the right spot. You probably don't need any more certifications, and you probably ought to just keep looking for better jobs. And if you can't find a better job, Roland, I mean, do you have bilateral symmetry? Do you inhale oxygen? And I'm good. I know it sounds a little weird, but I'm serious. A lot of times people who can't find better jobs are self-limiting. Well, for example, do you live in a little town and you don't want to move to a place that has jobs? Do you have a significant other who's telling you you can't go anyplace, or your job has to be from 9 to 5 or something like that? I'm not Roland, I would love to take your money and tell you to get all kinds of certifications, but the reality is I have no sense of who you are. And the fact that you have a CIS degree warns me that you're becoming a programmer. So Roland, you're going to have to say, no, Roland, you're going to have to tell me where your passion is. What do you like about IT? I mean, you got a CIS degree. There must have been something in there you liked. So tell me about it, and then I can give you a better answer. I don't mean to be dancing around these things, guys, but everybody has a special situation here, and I want to be on there for you. Okay, so Roland, I'll be watching for you to send me an answer. Gruber Accountancy, wait a minute. Looking there. Okay, so Jane Slayer. Mike, can you run Windows Server 2016 virtually? Yes. We have like 3 videos where we did it here in the live stream AMA. I even showed you how to get a free copy of Windows Server. Do you have any security concerns with Windows port 135? No. Dennis Belorozov, good old Irish name there. Where can I get the basics of Active Directory? The basics of Active Directory. Where does one start with Active Directory? We've got a couple of videos on Active Directory that start pretty basically. Wouldn't be a bad place to start. That'd probably be the first place I'd look. Mm. 2:07 p.m. Josh Dope. There's a cool name, Josh Dope. Hello, Mike. Hello, Josh. Josh Dope. I'm a beast, bruh. These are some great names. 2:07. I'm a beast, bruh. Any advice for those crazy worded customer feeling down? Oh, dude, you failed the Core 2 twice. I am so sorry. I know that's very, very frustrating. Are you using my practice questions would be the first thing I'd ask you. And the other thing is, those crazy worded customer service questions, I'm not sure exactly which ones you mean. There are some actual customer service questions on the A+ that talk about the 7-step repair process. Are you talking about that? That's just straight memorization. I got no secret to get through all that stuff. But if you're just talking about, there's a lot of questions on the Core 2 where it's just like, you know, Janet is working on blah, 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 and they're using other words in there that have nothing to do with the test question itself. And the longer the question is on a CompTIA exam, in my opinion, the easier the question is. So in general, if you see a question that's a big question, I'm going to be looking for all the sentences in the question. I actually go through this process. So I'm going to be I'm looking for periods. All right, so this paragraph has 5 periods in it. So that means there's 5 salient points that are going to help me answer this, right? So you go through the question and you look at the answers and go, can any of these 5 salient points be achieved in these 4 answers? These are the actual answers to the question. Can any of these achieve any of these? Can any, like question C, the salient point 3 negate C? Do you see where I'm coming from? And all we're doing in that case is simplifying the question. Most of the time on these big complicated customer service type questions, all you really got to do is look for the secret aspect of the question that makes it simple, because most of them are very, very simple questions. They just put a lot of verbiage in there to confuse you. You know, blah, 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 you can't get an IP address or something like that. And what do they call that? It's an APIPA or something like that. So don't make them complicated. Break the question sentences down to look for salient points. Compare each one of the salient points against the 4 answers as your 4 choices. And most of the time, you're looking at these 5 salient points. Well, point 3 definitely takes out answer C. And now you're down to 3. Remember, the most important thing you could ever do on a multiple choice exam is get it down to a 50-50 question. If you have studied for any exam, this isn't just CompTIA, this isn't just IT, it could be a real estate examination for all I care. If you've been studying for an examination and the examination is given in a multiple choice format, you should be able to do anywhere from 25 to 50% of the questions. You simply know the right answer. You know it. Let's go with 50% to make the numbers easier. So you go with 50%. You go, I know this much. Now the other half of the questions, you don't know the answer to. But you could probably get most of those down to 50-50. Not all of them, but most. when you add the questions you knew the right answer to, plus your 50-50s, which probably means you get about half of them right, right? You've already got enough to pass. That's it. That's it. The biggest reason that people fail CompTIA exams is test anxiety every single time. And those are the things you have to fight. Those are the things you have to watch out for. Gruber Accountancy. With NetStat, how can you tell if the connection has been made outgoing or incoming? You can't. There is nothing within NetStat that I can think of that would do that. Well, I can tell you this. This has nothing to do with NetStat. But if there's a NAT router in there, well, I guarantee you everything's initiated from the inside going out. It has nothing to do with NetStat, just the nature of NAT, N-A-T, right? But there is nothing within NetStat, Gruber, that will tell you if the connection is made outgoing or incoming. It just tells you what connections are there. Keisha Green. Where'd she go? Where's Keisha? Where's Keisha? Where's Keisha? Where's Keisha? I lost her. Oh. Hang on. I'm going to find you. Where'd you go? Keisha Green, there it is. So did you guys know that my buddy, Ms. Keisha Green, who had been on a pretty bad run of not doing well on the A+, is now A+ certified. So I want a big double round of applause to my friend Keisha, because she is A+ certified. And guys, been a long road to hoe, huh, Keisha? But you got it. And you know why you got it, Keisha? Because you came to the source. Right here. Mike Meyers, popular author. But again, congratulations, Keisha. I'm very, very, very excited for you. John Batman at 206. And I want to let you know that I thought you really enjoyed it. I appreciate it. Okay, thank you very much, John Batman. I always appreciate good words. Ali Ramal. Mike, I'd like more details on multi-threading versus pipelining. Well, Ali, I got to tell you, that's another one I've been thinking about dealing with a little bit better. And Ali, the issue we're running into, man, I wish people could ask me more detailed questions than just give me more details. Multi-threading versus pipelining. All CPUs, Ali, without exception, all CPUs have pipelines, all of them, okay? And back in the old days, before we had multiple cores on CPUs, where you just had one core with 2 pipelines or 4 pipelines or maybe 8 pipelines, there weren't that many, okay? Forget multi-core, I know all CPUs are multi-core, okay? I'm asking you for a moment, please stop thinking about cores for a minute and go back to a time when there was only one core in the CPU. That core has X number of pipelines in it. Let's just say there's 4 pipelines inside the CPU. Now, traditionally, when you run a program, a running program is in RAM, right? That's what running means. If the program isn't running, it's sitting only on the hard drive. When you double click on Microsoft Word, a chunk of Microsoft Word gets scraped off the hard drive and dumped into RAM, and then the CPU starts running the program, okay? So when you have a program sitting on a hard drive, that's not even running. But the moment you copy some of that program, or all if it's a small program, and you throw it up in RAM, you now have a process, Ali. Programs don't exist. Why am I being texted so much? Processes mean programs that are running in memory, okay? Now, once that program's running, when the CPU gets to that program, remember you got 4 or 5 programs running. Forget pipelines for a minute. We're about to talk about that. So once all these programs are running, once the CPU says, okay, program A, it's your turn to run a few lines, then it spawns, this is the term, we rip a few bits of code out of the RAM and we copy it to the CPU. And when the CPU gets it, and there's some caching involved and stuff too, but basically when the CPU gets it, it gets just enough code to run through one pipeline. And that chunk of code that runs through one pipeline is a thread. That's what a thread is. Compilers are designed to generate threads for different types of CPUs. So that's what a thread is, okay? So a thread is, right now, this is the smallest chunk of code, and that entire thread has to be run. You rarely, there's always exceptions to anything, but usually once you start a thread, you got to finish the thread. So the whole idea, like back in the old days, there was only one pipeline in your CPU. Guys, we're going back to like 386s and 486s, okay? So we're going back 20 plus years. When the Pentium computer came around, it came out with 2 pipelines. And with 2 pipelines, it allowed you to run programs more efficiently. Now the problem is that up until around the Pentium 4, you could only put one thread in one pipeline at a time. That was it. Now again, when I say you're not doing any of this. You understand? The CPU is working with Windows to make all this happen. But then when the Pentium 4s came along, they came up with something called hyperthreading. Hyperthreading allows one thread to look, bark, smell, taste like it's 2 pipelines. Because you could literally run 2 threads in that one pipeline at once, which you're not supposed to do, right? Well, they invented a way to do it. And because of that, you now have what's known as hyperthreading, which basically means I can run 2 threads through one super duper pipeline. It has to be designed to do this, folks. So it's not just going to happen out of magic. So once that's running, suddenly, instead of having one CPU, it really kind of looked like you had 2. I mean, it wasn't. It was like super pipelines that allowed multiple threads, ergo hyperthreading, but it made your one CPU look like 2 CPUs. That's just how it manifested. Because the CPU could arbitrarily be grabbing code from all over RAM and running it in there, and it could process more. All right, so let me get the question right here. Oh, God, I scrolled again. So frustrating. Sorry, I'm looking for lost it. All right, so I'm just going to have to go without it then. So the bottom line is that you had one core that could act like 2 cores, okay? You got one CPU that acts like, oh, geez, sorry, guys, I'm getting just swamped. All right, I'm just going to turn that off. Y'all can wait. So what happened is, I guess about 15 years ago, Intel started to come up with the idea of making multiple cores. So multiple physical CPUs. Now we've had computers with 2 CPUs, but that was 2 physical CPUs on a motherboard, and that was a challenge. You ran into a lot of trouble when you had 2 CPUs because you had to have applications actually take advantage of it. Sharing caches was questionable. They went through about 1,000 things. Anyway, the bottom line is, when Intel started putting more than one CPU in a CPU, because that's really what it is. A core is a CPU. Core is going to have its own level 1 cache. Core is going to be running, really, really fast. It's going to have its own pipeline. But the moment we started to bring in cores, people stopped talking about the pipelines. They just stopped talking about it. Because to them, what was interesting was, well, we know each CPU has X number of pipelines, but now we have one CPU that has 2 cores, or 4 cores, or 8 cores, or 12 cores, or there's got to be a 16 core out there. I forget. I can't keep track. And so the whole concept of pipelines, which is how hyperthreading works, has just been forgotten because nobody talks about it anymore. Because what they do talk about is they talk about the number of cores. what they don't talk about is each one of those cores has a pipeline of probably 4 pipelines, and some of them have hyperthreading and some of them don't. So if you have a 4-core computer and you fire up, I don't know, whatever resource monitor, whatever you want to look at your CPUs, you'll see that you have 4 CPUs showing up. But if you have a hyperthreading capable CPU, you're going to have 8. I don't remember what I have on here. Hold on. Let's take a look at mine right here. All right, so here I've got resource monitor running. So here I am already on CPU. I clicked on it. All right, All right, so I've clicked on CPU and resource monitor, and what I want you guys to look at is way over here. So I've got CPU 0, CPU 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so what I have here is I've got, they say 8 cores, but I probably only have 4 cores, and those cores are hyperthreading capable. It's trivial enough to check for that. I could just run a program like CPU ID or something like that to verify that it's hyperthread capable. The majority of CPUs are today. So the problem we run into is because nobody says the word pipeline anymore, people are starting to confuse hyperthreading and cores. Well, you would be confused if you don't talk about what a pipeline is, but because the CPU manufacturers have stopped talking about pipelines, we have this little gap, and that's why you buy amazing training materials from incredible authors who talk about this stuff, so it makes sense. So hopefully that answers your question, and if it doesn't, ask me more questions. No, Andrej, I'm not playing golf. Man, I am running out of time. I got to quit fiddle party. Ulysses Ferrer, 210. Yo, Uncle Mike, I did a Windows update, and my icon bar, the internet icon, comes like I have no internet access. But here I am, and ping myself, all good. Have you ever had a problem like that? I did a Windows update, and on my icon bar, you mean on the taskbar, the internet icon comes like I have no internet access, but here I am and ping myself, all good. Have you ever had a problem like that? I have not. I have not run into a situation where I would look in the lower right-hand corner and where it says I don't have internet, and yet I do. So that would be an interesting issue. So, you know, always a big challenge. You ask very, very interesting questions, Ulysses. And, you know, the only thing I can tell you is get on Discord and have a camera ready, and let's see this. I want to see all this. And even if I'm not there, show it to everybody else. Got some really good text on there. 210, Mike Tuberman. I'm watching your 1001. Love you. Fantastic. Mike, thank you for the compliment. Very much appreciate it, my friend. Zach Morrill. Who is Zach Morrill? I had my first IT job today. Went pretty well. Zach! I'm glad to hear that the EU has an economy that actually functions. I got to tell you, Zach's from the UK, so I'm going to pick on him a little bit. I mean, I've been a student of history, and I could, especially English history, to be honest, I'm pretty sure I could name every king of England or Great Britain or UK or whatever you want to call it from 1066 to today. There'd be a couple of small gaps in there, but I could pretty much do it. So I'm a fan of English history. I like English history very, very much. But I remember the first time I ever went to England, to London, and I realized how tiny Britain is. I mean, the whole UK is small, but when you look at just Britain, you know, start down there in the west in Cornwall and just go up to, where is it, Yorkshire? It's a tiny, Did you know you could fit like 2.5 Englands into Texas alone? That driver across Texas, don't even think about it. I have ants. I'm not kidding. Where did ants come from? Anyway, it was such a small place, and just always amazed me all. The sun never sets on the British Empire. Did you know, guys? Do you guys now know that the sun does set on the British Empire for about 20 minutes? Keisha, I see other people congratulating you, and I'm just so excited. Keisha, I got to tell you, you make me feel good. By the way, guys, I'm going to do a multi-threading versus pipelining. I don't know when. I got some more work done on the path of certifications, and I do want to finish that one up first, but we now have 3 topics coming up. Finally finished the certification path thing that I started a month and a half ago, still not. It's become very complicated. Number 2, discuss non-Android phones. And then number 3, multi-threading versus pipeline. Everything I said was right, but I think I can build on that better. Guys, I need to warn you, one of the downsides about y'all being here is that you are my guinea pigs. And I try stuff with you guys that may never actually get out on a video or in a book or anything. And that's the price you pay of getting free Mike Meyers all the time. Zach, I am so excited you're working, man. Congratulations, my friend. I am very, very excited. Not a D. How are moderators chosen on Dcord? Must we first pass a CompTIA exam? No, Nada. So Nada, I don't know how they're picked. What I would recommend to you, and Nada, you might want to see what other people have to say. Show up on the Discord channel after an AMA or 2 or 3. Show that you have a genuine interest. Get a camera and a microphone and some speakers so we can talk with you. And that would be the other thing. And also keep in mind, Nada, I'm sure if I said something I could sway things, but I'm not going to. Nada, you've been here for a while and you seem to be a good person. But, you know, I would think that the people that they're looking for to be moderators on the Discord would be people who are genuinely want to help and grow and learn. And I think if you can show that, come up on the Discord channel, let us see your shining countenance and how you're doing, and then by golly, they will definitely probably want to get you on board. We're always looking for more help. I know that. Guillermo Moreno, hey Mike, is RAID 6 on the A+? So Guillermo, Scott Jernigan, being the great guy that he is, saw this question when you typed it in, God, 30 minutes ago. Why am I so far behind? The answer is there is no RAID 6 on the A+. That's what Scott Jernigan says. He says it's RAID 0, 1, 5, and 10. So no RAID 6. All right, I'm going to speed up here. PinePhone. I think it is PinePhone, Jane Slayer. I'm scrolling really fast. I'm looking for questions. Elbow, how hard is it to root an Android phone? It's persnickety, but fairly trivial. You might want to go to, just do a Google search for Android developers, and there's a wonderful website that will go through this in great detail. Also keep in mind, Elbow, that if you try to root an Android phone and you are unsuccessful, you might be making an ashtray. So proceed at your own risk. And people have huge conversations on the best type of firmware, Android developers. I can't remember the name of that site. It's a good one. I'm moving fast. Victoria Garcia, what is your favorite Android phone? Well, right now, Andrea, my favorite Android phone is my... Okay, I thought I was buffering again. This is my Galaxy Fold. It's very cool, huh? It's got the whole front thing. Yeah. So I'm having fun with it. Foldable phones, I think, are going to happen. Josh Dope, through 215. I'm watching a Udemy course. I'm currently in chapter 20 and 33 double-sided pieces of paper notes, and I'm wondering if I'm writing too many notes. Josh, everybody's got their own system. If it's working for you, then do it. Everybody's different. What I would rather have heard is that you bought one of my books and you're using highlighters, because my videos mimic it's not perfect. It's not a perfect match, but it's a pretty close match. And I think a lot of people find it successful to go that route. Do what works for you, Josh Dope, you big dope. The other thing, I can't. I was going to talk about Elbow. We could probably talk a lot more about rooting phones. All right, I'm scrolling quick because we're really running short on time today. I'm sorry we have such a short day today, guys. It's not going to normally happen. Guillermo Moreno, Mike, I just graduated with Information System Major. Do you think that's a good degree to get into the IT field? Yes, it's an outstanding place. It's absolutely outstanding. Do it. Greg A is telling us that the IWD 2021 didn't work. Greg, I'm not in a position I can diagnose that for you. I'm very, very sorry. Greg, here, I guess I'll be the one. Greg, if you're still having trouble, contact me directly. Michael M at totalsem.com. That's good all week, so it's not like if it's not working right now, it's not a big panic. Contact me. For the record, I'm like the worst person to contact. There's better people, but I don't see anybody else jumping to volunteering. So, Greg, I will help you figure that out. IWD or maybe it's capital I don't know. Just email me directly, Greg. We'll figure it out, and it'll be good all week. So if we'll get it figured out. 2:20 p.m. Mike Tuberman. Do you ever get nostalgic for your very first PC? Mine was an IBM 5150. You had a 5150. Yeah, Mike. God, what was my first computer? It was a home-built S100 bus system, Zilog processor. Ran an operating system called CPM 86. Yeah, it was old. Also had an Altair. God, I wish I'd never sold that thing. Those things go for thousands now. But yes, Mike Tuberman, I do get nostalgic about old stuff. There are some really, really fun YouTube channels, old stuff. Abazar Ali, hypersegmentation to... I got it. Dang it. All right. Abazar, I know you're going to hate me for saying this, but I'm going to... I mean, I can talk about hypersegmentation a little bit, but the big question I have is the term doesn't sound like a comptia term, which means I probably don't know that much about it. I can tell you I don't know much about it. So here's what I'm going to do. This is for my friend Abazar Ali. Abazar Ali, for you, my good friend. I am going to do a little research on hypersegmentation. Let me write that more clearly. Hypersegmentation. Hypersegmentation, and it has to do with trusts. Boy, that does sound kind of... All right. And I'm going to look into this, and I'm going to answer two things. Number one, is this a CompTIA question? Even if it isn't, Abazar, I'm going to answer this for you. But it's going to have to be Wednesday. And I'm making myself copious notes to research that. Scott Jernigan, Wednesday we're going to be talking about hypersegmentation. All the other stuff can sit a little bit, because I don't know what the right answer is right off the top of my head. No. 246, Andrej Bednard's. Dave! Sorry, man. Hi, Mike. Hi, Andrej. Andrej? How's that? Welcome aboard. Nicholas Pratt, Fold 2. Yes, that is the Fold 2. I have the Fold 2. In the beautiful rose gold, because that was the only color they had. I wasn't going to wait a week for black. Daniel Tinsley, 246. It's easier to root an Android that has an unlocked. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Daniel, that's why I was telling him to go to that Android developer site, because there's a lot that goes into rooting Android devices. And Daniel, I'm cheating a little bit and just passing it off to somebody who knows more than me. I have an old Nexus 6 that's rooted, and that's my primary, attack phone. But that's the only rooted phone I have. They're all unlocked. Never confuse locked, unlocked with rooted. Different animals. Nicholas, I have your A+ book highlighted to heck. There's my Dan. Ooh, Dave Rush did it for you. Thank you, Dave Rush. It is XDA-developers. That's exactly it. Rodney Amy, why is ESX better than VM? It's not. Am I going blank? What is ESX? I think I know what you're trying to say, but... Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Rodney, in my opinion, this is Rodney Amy at 246. Rodney, VMware is probably the best hypervisor that you can get out there today. Let me say it again. VMware is a company that makes some of the best hypervisors that you can get out there. Probably ESX, which is a product of VMware. ESX is their Type 1 hypervisor. And it is powerful. We use ESX at Total Seminars. It's great. It costs money. And most people, especially when you're learning, they want to spend as little money as possible. I want you to spend as little money as possible. So that's why I go to VirtualBox. I use VirtualBox as a R&D hypervisor. It's a Type 2 hypervisor, Oracle VirtualBox. It has a relatively easy-to-use interface, especially if somebody's just learning virtual machines. But it can bog down fairly easily. For example, to be learning like Network Plus or Security Plus, where you're making these virtual machines, if they burp or reset themselves, what's the big deal, right? It's a pain, but you reset them. But for a production system where I've got money on the line, I'm going to go to VMware and I'm going to buy ESX. And I'm going to slap ESX onto a bare metal, probably pizza box machine. And that's just how I'm going to do it. So, why is ESX Rodney Amy Jr.? ESX cannot be compared to VM. ESX is a product that is made by a company called VMware. And the ESX is a Type 1 hypervisor. Is it better than a VM? No, it is a virtual machine. It's one of many that you can buy from. But VMware works really hard to make very, very robust production level quality virtualization. Better than anybody else, in my opinion. Jane Slayer, I learned that 24 hours notice. I learned about that 24 hours. Actually scheduled my exam for the next day. Couldn't change it because 24 hours. Pass though, Total Seminars works. That's all I care about. Got to pass, man. Guillermo, other than your practice questions, what are some other questions I can do that you think are great to study? And Guillermo, I think that's a good idea. You should always get, here I'm literally telling you to buy from my competitors. I'm going blank. Who does Robert Abernathy work for? Cyber Vista, that's it. So if you're going to buy a competitor's questions, right now my favorite of my competitors is called Cyber Vista. Yeah, let me get that up. I was going to be like, who's Cyber Vista? Oh, this is great. I just typed in cybervista.com and it just came into a blank screen. Oh, it's cybervista.net. Okay, so here you go, guys. So check out CyberVista. Trying to make this small enough so you guys can see it. Let's minimize that. So here, at least you can see the URL. CyberVista. That would be one of my competitors that I would recommend. Let's get off there. Okay. All right, it's 2:55. Yeah, guys, since we have such a short day, I'm not going to be doing any giveaways today. We've only got 5 minutes left. However, I promise, everybody show up on Wednesday, because I'm going to guarantee, I'm going to write this down so I won't lie. I'm going to have at least 4 giveaways on Wednesday. So I'm just sorry, because it's a short day, guys, and I just want to get to people's questions. But I'm going to have 4 giveaways Wednesday, 2 days from now. Daniel Tinsey at 248 recommends Dion training. Jason Dion's a good guy. I got no problem with him. My only downside to Jason Dion is that I haven't actually played with his stuff. I can say for pretty much everybody else, I just haven't got that round to it, right? Yeah, so. Oh, there, look, Scott Jernigan already had that all there. Oh, Nicholas Pratt, let me reschedule when I messed up at 2 a.m. test showing. Oh, you poor Nicholas Pratt, I am so sorry, man. What a hassle. Nicholas Pratt is a fan of VMware, so am I. I like VMware. VMware has some very interesting features that you're not going to see with other hypervisors, not even virtual PC. For example, like VMware comes with a virtualized UEFI. Isn't that kind of cool? So you can spin up a virtual machine in VMware, and when it boots up, you can actually press delete or whatever, and it goes into BIOS. Isn't that fun? It's the only hypervisor I know that does that. What else does VMware? So another nice thing that VMware has is that, let's say you boot up a system, all right? You've got a server in the back that's running ESX, and you have some VMware software running on your machine, so you can pull up virtual machines on your machine. So you got to be really careful. When you're running a Type 1 hypervisor, one of the many ways that you can get to a virtual machine is you use like remote desktop will let you get to it. Or like VMware comes with its own client tool for creating new virtual machines and stuff like that. You'd never, ever stand at a VMware server and do anything. Once it's installed, you use client software to do everything. But one of the other things it does that's very cool is that you can sit there and go, VMware, this machine that I'm standing at right now, can you make a copy of it and then make a virtual machine copy of it? And it does. Very cool. And that's just the beginning of the power of VMware. The downside to VMware is it costs money. And it can end up costing a lot of money if you need it. And that's why I still use VirtualBox for training, because A, it's completely free, and B, it works really, really, really well. Yeah, it may not have every bell and whistle that VMware does, but it's still good. You guys and all this music talk. How much more time? We got 2 more minutes. All right. I'm going to scroll through really quick. Patricia Grace. Well, you guys are all full of witty repartee today. Yes, so many times I'm looking at the chat channel, and in the background, Scott Jernigan's typing me information, and I miss stuff. So, sorry, Scott. Guillermo Moreno is pushing Professor Messer. I haven't looked at Professor Messer in a few years, but he traditionally has always been good. All right, guys, so we're kind of wrapping up here a little bit. Again, I'm sorry we have such a short day, but I need to go to the doctor. I'm fine. I just need to get some things checked. Okay, so number one, please like and subscribe to this channel. You guys would be shocked how much it helps. I don't make a penny on any of this, but the liking and subscribing helps position me better when you're asking questions or you're looking for CompTIA Plus. Mike Meyers shows up. So please like and subscribe to this channel. That helps quite a bit. Also remember, Dave Rush on this Friday is going to be doing something. Oh, Dave, I can't find you. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's already posted it somewhere. So Dave every Friday is always doing with Raspberry Pis. Now keep in mind, you say, well, who cares about Raspberry Pis? I'm studying for Network Plus. Dave Rush does an amazing job of using Raspberry Pis primarily as very inexpensive tools to do a lot of very cool stuff that definitely ties into A+, Net+, and Security+. The Raspberry Pi part, in my opinion, is incidental because Dave's going to show you how to do some very great stuff with inexpensive machines, save you a lot of money, and learn a lot while you're at it. So that's this Friday at 2 o'clock right here. Also, do keep in mind that we have 50% off on everything. I didn't receive any emails yet, so I'm hoping everybody got that stuff worked out. But you are take advantage of 50% off. Scott will post that for you one more time. And again, guys, I cannot be on Discord today. Can't do it, but I guarantee you I will be on Wednesday. Just because I'm not showing up, I promise you Scott Jernigan will be there. I promise you Tolowit will be there. My buddy Andrej will be there. These are all great techs and can definitely help you out. And so please, if you're new and you're thinking about joining the Discord channel, jump in. And again, you don't have to come with a microphone and a headset, but it's nice because people like to talk to you, know who you are. You know, you don't want to use a camera, don't use a camera. I mean, you know, Andrej uses a camera even though we begged him not to. But other than that, please join the Discord channel. All right, guys, I got to go see the doctor. I am out of here. I will see you Wednesday. We're going to be talking about hypersegmentation this Wednesday, and I'm going to guarantee 4 giveaways this Wednesday. So this Wednesday is going to be a big, big time. So I hope to see you guys there. Tell all your friends, and we'll be giving away tons of fun stuff. And until then, this is your little Uncle Mikey saying good night. Good night. I'll see you guys Wednesday.